Alright, hey Pritzker, we're here with objective 134. Students will be able to solve multi-step tax problems. We understand there's a glare right here. We'll do our best to make sure if we do write stuff there, you understand what's being written. Okay? But students will be able to solve multi-step tax problems. The first and really the only key points, as we now are doing discount and tax problems, before you just saw discounts as an isolated skill, you saw markups or values added as an isolated skill. Now we're doing it all together because that's how the real world works. We're actually doing stuff, or we're doing transactions that you might have at a store. So the big key point for today is tax is always applied last. So whatever that end value is, that's when your tax value is applied. It's applied last, and it's applied to what you owe. So if you look at this first problem where you read the t-shirt costs $20 wholesale, you're not going to apply the tax to that first value you see, because it goes on to talk about how you apply a discount to it. Your tax is applied after you have this end value. That's what's in tax extra, and that's what's sent towards our government to do all the things that we've talked about in class. So let's read through example 1 here. Shantanese is buying a t-shirt. The t-shirt costs $20 wholesale, and the shop is offering a 10% discount. I'm going to put an arrow going down as a reminder that that means it's going to cost a little bit less than this $20. And then it says it has a 5% tax, which is not a Chicago tax, but it's just for this example, it has a 5% tax. It's asking what is the final price of this t-shirt. So we're going to start with that $20 value. Okay? We're going to say our total price is equal to this, and put an arrow up here. It's equal to this original cost. Whenever you read wholesale, that's implying like that's the original cost of whatever you're buying, that's the price it started at. So we have our total price is equal to the original cost, and because it's a discount, I'm going to subtract off that discounted portion. So I'm going to multiply 0.1, as that is 10% as a decimal, times the original value. And so now our next total is going to be 20 minus 2. So right now our total is 18. Now in previous objectives, we would stop here. We apply the discount, that's what it asks, but that's not realistic to what happens in everyday life, and that's not what this problem is really asking. It's saying now we have a 5% tax. So we have an $18 total, but a 5% tax. I'm going to put an up arrow as a reminder that tax means I'm going to pay a little bit extra. Whatever that tax value is, like I pay it, and then that portion goes towards our government. So right here we have 18, and then we're going to add that to this tax value. And we're at 0.05, because 0.05 is 5% in decimal form. We had some issues on that on our quiz. Like, make sure if you are having trouble going from decimal to decimal to fraction, or from percent to a fraction, from percent to a decimal, break down what 5% means. It means 5 per 100, or 5 divided by 100. Go through that process each time if it's not super clear what that 5% is going to look like in decimal form. So we're going to do 0.05 times what our now value is. So it's currently $18 once you apply the tax. So I'm going to apply that tax. Again, it's applied last. It's applied to this end value. So we have 18 plus, and I believe it's 0.90. Then we add those two values together. We draw an arrow over here. And so our total that we actually end up paying at the register is $18.90. We still should be putting answers in complete sentences. It always sounds a little bit better. When you're asked a full question, you should give a full response. So I have Shantanese. Trying to see where that I goes. $18.90 for the t-shirt.
So looking at the same problem, notice how Mr. Riggs did 2 steps. He first took the original and he subtracted the discount to get his new price. This is the price that we owe. To this new price, he then applied or added the tax to get his final price. Now, we had to do 2 separate steps, or we had to find the percent of 2 different values. One thing that we see quite frequently from students is they realize that we have to take the original, and from there, we have to subtract the discount, and then add a tax. So what a lot of students do is they realize that the discount is subtracting 10%, and the tax adds 5%. So they think rather than doing two steps, we can just go ahead and combine these percentages. And go through the problem that way. If we were to do that, that would look like $20 minus 5%. Let me redo that. 5% of 20. When we solve this out, we end up getting $19. But if you notice, Mr. Riggs, he got $18.90, and these are two different values. You might think, oh, 10 cents, that's not a big deal. But imagine if you were buying items that were much larger in price, and you would have a difference of a few dollars or hundreds of dollars or whatever that may look like. So we cannot simply add the percentages. We don't want to see this mistake on your work ever, so make sure that you have this example with an X through it, and on the top or next to it, write mistake, so you know never to make the same mistake in your own work moving forward.
We're here on page 15. Ms. Hyder and myself are going to go just through 3 more examples, and we'll have the rest of it to do as practice, whatever was assigned in class. Number 3, Derek is buying new football gear at Sports Authority. Sports Authority charges 25% more than Walmart before tax. If Walmart charges $55, what is the price at Sports Authority if Sports Authority has a 5% tax? There's a lot going on here, okay? Notice how this is saying 25% more, and it has a 5% tax. This is not one of those standard like discount then add a tax. It sounds like we're actually going to be increasing the value 2 separate times here. It's comparing this 25% more to the Walmart value, and it says that Walmart charges $55. So I'm going to start with that 55 as my original cost. And I'm going to add, because it said the Sports Authority one is 25% more, I'm going to add that value back to the original cost. So I have 0.25 as the decimal form of 25%, and then added back, or being multiplied by that original cost. So I have 55 plus
$13.75.
Thank you, Ms. Hyder. $13.75, which is a total of $68.75. $68.75. So this is going to be like what you see as the price at Sports Authority, but now we need to apply that 5% tax. So this is now my new cost. I'm going to add 0.05, which represents this tax value right here. And then I'm going to multiply that by what is now currently the cost that I see. This would be the cost that I would take to the register. This is that final price. Now I'm applying the tax on it. So times 68.75. So I have $68.75 plus
3.4375.
Please make sure to not round right here. We talked about it in class. When you round at the very end, if you were to round this to even the hundredths place or the tenths place, you're going to get a totally different value. We're trying to be as accurate as possible so you know like what you're going to pay for things. Then we have $68.75 plus this very long value, which gives us a total of
$72.1875.
And now is a really great time to round. We never see these extra digits, the thousands or the 10,000s place on a receipt. So it makes sense now to round to that cents place. The cents place is the hundredth place. Now we have $72.19. That's that final value I'm going to pay if I buy this football gear from Sports Authority.
All right, looking at this problem, it just has a little bit more to it. So let's go ahead and break it down together. Ms. Hyder, this is a true story, went to the farmer's market. She bought 4 pounds of tomatoes for 76 cents per pound. So that means each 1 pound is worth 76 cents. I bought 4 pounds, so this would be 4 times 0.76, that will be the cost of tomatoes. I also got 24 ounces of milk for 50 cents per ounce. So for every 1 ounce, it costs 50 cents. So since I bought 24 ounces, each for 50 cents, this will be the cost of my milk. And here, 3 cakes for $5 each cake. I got 3 cakes, multiply that by $5, add that, and that should give me my initial price without any percents applied. So 4 times 0.76 plus 24 times 50 cents plus 3 times $5 gives me a grand total of
$30.04.
Great. From here, the market offered a discount of 2%, and the total bill was rounded to the nearest cent. So here I don't have, I have a discount only. I'm going to apply that discount. So my price is 30.04. Discounts are subtracted. 2% is 0.02 of the value that I owe. So the discount will be Mr. Riggs,
0.6008.
right? And when I subtract these, Mr. Riggs, I get
$29, and then 0.4395.
okay. Notice how we didn't do any rounding
I'm
throughout
sorry,
the problem.
92. That's not bad.
Ooh,
92.
92. Okay. Even if it was 95, it wouldn't really make a huge impact because since it's money, we are always going to round to the hundreds place. So this will give us a grand total of $29.44. Notice no rounding until the very end. So, point of this problem, you have to read carefully. We didn't just buy 76 cents worth of something, right? It's per pound. So we do have to multiply by how many pounds we got it for, so on and so forth. Make sure you're showing all of your work for problems like these.
Number 6 on page 17 is the last one we're going to do. The rest, whatever was assigned in class, you're responsible for. The reason we picked this one is because in past years, students have, I would say, misread this question. So if you're reading through, a local car dealership employee makes $500 a week. If 5% is taken out for taxes, how much do they make? Or how much do they make per month? There's a few parts to this. One, it's saying how much do they make per month. We're going to assume, just for simplicity, that there are 4 weeks per month. So in the past, a lot of students have just found whatever they thought was the tax value for this, like that was their final answer. But it doesn't quite make sense because this is a per week, like a weekly value, and it's asking for how much does this employee make per month. It also is a little bit misleading because it says 5% is taken out for taxes. In the past, a lot of students, like, they saw the word tax, and they're like, oh, like, that means the value is going to increase. But it's saying taken out for taxes. If this is like the income tax that goes, that's affected to your paycheck, this is not money the employee gets extra, this is actually money the employee loses. So we're going to be removing this 5% from this employee's paycheck. So I'm going to start with this $500 value. This is the original cost. And we're actually going to subtract this tax value because it's money that's being taken away from us. So it's 500, I think it's $25, but I want to be sure. No, it's less than that. Oh, right. So that minus 25 represents how much money is being taken out of our paycheck. And this gives us $475 on a weekly basis. This is a weekly total. And so now I'm going to answer the question of how much we make per month. I'm going to take this value, this 475, and multiply it by the 4 weeks there are in a month. And when I do that, it gives me $1,900. I could have done it a different way. I could have started with my $500 per week and then 500 times the 4 weeks. That would have given me $2,000. And after that, I could have then applied that tax. That was 0.05 times the amount of money I have now. That would be 2,000. Minus 100, and that gives us a grand total of $1,900. So either way you do it, you get the same value. The important thing is you're applying the tax at the end. So if you view it as applying it at the end of the week, you get the 475 times 4, or you could view it as, okay, I get kind of a monthly sum, and then apply it after all of that. Make sure you finish the rest, whatever was assigned, and we'll see you next time in class.